Bing, 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 bing. The CIA's secret cyber weapon. Me, dog. No, not me. What is it, though? Nuclear
Natanz,
plant,
Iran.
2010.
Here, buried 26 feet underground and shielded by 8-foot concrete walls, lies a top-secret uranium.
Hey, how about less uranium? They don't need to heat it up. You utilize the heat for energy. And then you're using less water.
Enrichment facility.
Ah, that looks too
At its
complicated.
core are rows upon rows of gas centrifuges. They are all interconnected by a maze of pipes. Gaseous uranium is pushed through the system in several stages. The centrifuges spin at dizzying speeds, which separates uranium isotopes based on their weight.
What?
The heavier atoms are gradually pushed towards the outer edges, while the lighter atoms concentrate in the center. That's the enrichment.
Uranium?
When this enriched uranium is later split, enormous amounts of energy are released. Enriched uranium is the key ingredient to nuclear power plants, or to the deadliest weapon mankind has ever seen.
Yeah, super science, man. They had to have a way to make it more efficient. The heat that dissipates off of nuclear fusion or whatever, they've had to
But lately, something's been off.
You know?
In the past few weeks, centrifuges have been breaking down at an alarming rate. Sure, it's normal to replace them every now and then, but this level of failure is beyond anything the Iranian scientists can explain, especially since the control panels and system logs show nothing out of the ordinary. The nuclear engineers are baffled. Could their systems somehow have been sabotaged? Impossible. The facility is completely air-gapped, hermetically sealed off from the internet, and physically disconnected from the outside world.
I miss it.
It's perfectly protected from foreign intelligence services, like the CIA. There's no way that anybody could get into these systems, right?
Oh, this is a cyber thing, huh? Well, you got me with the nuclear. So they hacked into it? And then Iran. Whoa, dude. This is gonna get copyright strike. I'm gonna be like, how does XQC do it? This is the music.
This video is
right?
partly based on the great book Countdown to Zero Day. You'll find a link in the description. Sergey Ulysin and Oleg Kupriv work for a small cybersecurity firm in Minsk, Belarus. Right now, they're remotely troubleshooting some computers for an Iranian client.
Well,
the PCs are acting up, constantly crashing and rebooting. They dig through the systems, searching for the root cause, and eventually they find something.
2048.
A malware. But this isn't your typical run-of-the-mill virus. This thing feels different. It's incredibly sophisticated, unlike anything they've ever seen.
2048.
It appears to be exploiting a zero-day vulnerability. That's a previously unknown flaw in an operating system or software program. A zero-day exploit is insanely powerful because, as long as it stays undetected and unpatched by developers, it can be used indefinitely. And the more critical the breach, the more systems can be hacked or infected. 0 days are the holy grail of hacking. Ulysin and Kupriv are stunned, and quite frankly, a bit intimidated. This was not the work of amateurs. Whatever they're looking at reeks of top-tier expertise.
CIA 2048. Iran.
The malware turns out to be a highly complex computer worm. It can replicate itself and somehow stay undetected while slipping into the most heavily secured Windows systems. Alarmed,
How though? Like, what is the transfer of like what is the infection? Someone has to open something. There has to be. Does it just happen?
Heavily secured Windows systems.
And then again, this is all, I don't believe hackerism. This has to be social engineering. Someone went in, plugged in a USB, and then someone keeps fucking up by opening a link or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love how they make it like all wormy and virusy, but it's like that's not how it works most of the time. Someone gets the virus USB, downloads something, and then it gets automatically sent. That's the interesting part, the squiggly line over here. It's a straight line. You know what I mean?
Alarmed, Ulysin and Kupriv email Microsoft to report their troubling discovery. But oddly enough,
Microsoft is like, I know.
2 weeks later, they decide to go public. On July 12, 2010, Ulysin posts a warning on his employer's website in an English-speaking online security forum. He shares what they found out about the malware and issues an urgent alert. But the warning comes too late.
No way I could
The
read
worm
that.
has already spread far and wide, infecting over 100,000 computers across more than 100 countries. Among them, Indonesia, India, Azerbaijan, Pakistan, Malaysia, and the US. But most of all, Iran.
Like, was it a core software that got hacked and then everyone uses the same software, like Microsoft's uh, CrowdStrike?
The news about the powerful computer worm
Like, how did
spreads
it
like
spread?
wildfire. Whispers ripple through the tech world, and soon the software earns its now infamous name. From two file names buried in the
What
malicious
is it?
code, .stub and mrxnet.sys, a moniker is born. Stuxnet.
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 Stuxnet. I've never heard of
Microsoft
that.
announces a
Stuxnet.
patch and says they must have missed Ulison's mail. Cybersecurity experts worldwide are scratching and says they must have
You know, at least a couple of key people in the industry that had their personal emails on hand. We didn't. So yeah, someone. It was what? Maybe I misread that. Feels Virus Block had no knowledge of or experience of how to deal with such cases. Indeed, to handle them effectively, you really need to know at least a couple key people in the industry. Oh,
missed Ulison's mail. Cybersecurity experts worldwide are scratching their heads. They begin dissecting Stuxnet's code and end up taking months to piece its secrets together. Slowly but surely, they realize Stuxnet doesn't use just one zero-day exploit. It uses 4. The main file of Stuxnet is unusually large for a computer worm, 600 kilobytes. For comparison, the worm configure
Which one does it use first though, or is it like an auto? Does it go through all four? Is it random, or is it like this one doesn't work? How come it doesn't get triggered if one doesn't work and then it tries two, tries the third strategy, tries the fourth? Like 1 through 4, at least 1 through 3 should come up on some sort of
which infected an estimated 6 million
zero
systems in the late
day.
2000s,
Okay,
was only 35
I don't know
kilobytes.
anything about code.
So what exactly is Stuxnet doing when it infects a system? And most importantly, why? We hope that you will learn something over the course of this video. Not like back in school. Think unbearably boring
Let's
lessons
learn.
on some subject that could actually be interesting.
Oh,
We
Fern
try to
is
wrap
teaching
information in compelling storytelling and fun animations. And we're not alone. Our friends at Imprint have developed an innovative app that turns screen
Go
time
Imprint.
into growth time. The
We'll watch
library
that.
features beautifully designed bite-sized and interactive lessons. You can go for 3-minute quick reads or full-on 80-unit
There's
courses.
this thing called
It's flexible,
not
it's
sponsored.
useful, and it makes you feel good. A fantastic replacement for endless doom scrolling. The content covers topics like health, philosophy, and productivity. Personally, we've been hooked on their course on the science of
God.
happiness that shows how small mental shifts can completely
I
change
thought
the
it
way you see
wasn't.
the world. Looking at your New Year's propositions here. Their financial literacy series is another game changer to make better financial decisions in the upcoming year.
This is super
Start
cool.
your 7-day free trial now and get 20% off your annual subscription. Just scan the QR code or visit
They're selling
imprintapp.com/fur
courses?
to start 2025 with some powerful new habits. Once Stuxnet infiltrates
habits.
a system, it first installs a rootkit. Rootkits are collections of tools designed to hold suspicious processes and activities. This allows the malware to remain undetected. Stuxnet's rootkit operates at the kernel level. It can conceal its presence while taking complete control of the infected computer, even altering core functions of its operating system. The worm specifically targets Windows systems and exploits legitimate digital certificates from trusted
So
companies.
basically what it's doing is, I mean, for layman's terms, I guess, is right when it goes into the computer, it rewrites the system 32 or whatever 64, and it's like, hey, allow this virus to just freelance. Like it gives itself permission. It's not that, I mean, I don't know.
Companies like
What
Realtek
is,
Semiconductor and Microsoft. These certificates are essentially stamps of approval that software manufacturers use
Oh.
to verify their programs as safe. By leveraging these certificates, the attackers can bypass a lot of security measurements. Ultimately, one expert notices something extremely odd. Stuxnet seems to only activate on systems running a specific software called Siemens Step 7. On all other systems, the worm does nothing except spread further. The Siemens software is part of an industrial control system designed to work with so-called programmable logic controllers. These devices are widely used in industrial settings to control machines. The whole thing just got even more mysterious. Cybersecurity experts
so it hacks hardware. It purposely hacks hardware, and then it uses the software to find the hardware, right?
continue dissecting Stuxnet. They uncover that the malware has been active since June 2009, creeping through systems for an entire year before anyone noticed. During this time, Stuxnet appears
Whoa.
to have launched 3 distinct waves of attack, the first in June 2009, followed by 2 more in March and April 2010. With each wave, the code was slightly tweaked, most likely to render the malware even more aggressive. There are very few entities in the world who could pull this off. And there's one more detail. Stuxnet isn't just attacking any random
CIA.
computer running the Siemens
And
software.
no one could
It's
do
originally
it?
tailored to
It's
strike
the
in one
CIA.
specific country. Whatever Stuxnet is after, it must be worth the enormous amount of effort put into this worm. It must be industrial in nature, and it must be located in Iran.
So
In
that's where it
2002, an
originated.
Iranian resistance group exposes the existence of 2 top-secret nuclear facilities in Iran, a heavy water plant in Iraq, and a uranium enrichment facility in Natanz. Why does Iran suddenly need so much uranium? Alarm bells go off in the West. Could Iran be working on nuclear weapons? This would violate the Non-Proliferation Treaty, or NPT. That's an agreement signed by the international community in 1968 to prevent the spread of nukes and promote disarmament. Iran appears to be willingly breaking the NPT. The country was supposed to report the facilities to the International Atomic Energy Agency, IAEA,
Whoa.
but it didn't. The body is responsible for monitoring nuclear activities and preventing the development of nuclear weapons. 1 year after the Natanz site is uncovered, the IAEA sends a team of investigators. The Iranian leadership
That
tries to
is huge bad. Iran, listen, yeah, but paperwork from the 1968 Olympics, they signed it, and they were like, hey, if you make any nuclear anything, it could be used for weapons, let us know. So you don't make weapons. Or we could just like watch you make weapons, I guess. I have no idea. But they were like, no, we're using it for power. And then they potentially could use it for weapons, but because they're using it for power, they're just like, yeah. It's just electricity and bombs.
calm things
No, dude.
down, insisting the uranium will be used for peaceful purposes only, to produce
No.
nuclear energy. But when the
I wasn't
IAEA
reading it.
investigators get to Natanz, they collect environmental samples and find traces of highly enriched uranium. Uh-oh. This discovery sets off a chain reaction. The IAEA starts conducting regular inspections at the facility. The UN Security Council imposes economic sanctions. Years of tense negotiations ensue. Iran's nuclear ambitions cross a red line for many countries, especially for Israel and the US. Once allies, Washington and Tehran became bitter enemies after the Islamic Revolution in the 1970s. Meanwhile, Iran has openly positioned itself as Israel's nemesis and directly finances numerous anti-Israeli terrorist organizations. The stakes are clear. Israel and the US are determined to stop Iran's rise to nuclear power.
Oh my God. There wasn't weapons of mass destruction in Iran, but there could have been. Like, do you know the conspiracies that are like George Bush and this and that? But it's like, no. We found 2 nuclear sites heavily uh developed, I guess. Like they were like probably a hop and a skip away from making a nuke. Holy shit. What kind of full circle is this? Is George Bush a good guy? Oh,
By
no,
any
dude.
means necessary.
Yeah, Hansel. I'm
In
just saying, like,
2006, then President George W. Bush is briefed on a top-secret plan. The
you just
CIA
brought
has
up
come up with a
Bush.
strategy to sabotage Iran's nuclear program. Working closely with Israeli cyber intelligence, they begin crafting a sophisticated digital weapon. The project is continued under Barack Obama. Its codename Operation Olympic Games.
Olympics? 1960. I brought that up
Quick note, the following
sometime.
part of the story is based on this report by Dutch investigative journalist Huip Mullerkolk. While we cannot fully verify the events independently, they do align with
I
earlier
believe it.
investigations
No,
made
no,
by
no,
other
no, you're right.
journalists.
You just make it up
It's
at this point.
2007. The CIA is making
No, that's what I'm
significant
saying.
progress on Operation Olympic Games. They've even built a massive replica of Iran's
Wait,
nuclear
so the CIA is the ones putting together, like they're trying to figure out who hacked or what?
facility deep in the forests of Tennessee to understand how to sabotage the plant without detection. But they have a
Oh,
major problem. They
I'm
can't send their
confused.
own
They
agents to
made it?
infiltrate the high-security facility at Natanz. So they turn to an ally, the Dutch intelligence service MIVD. The plan for the covert
Everybody
operation
shit.
is laid out during a meeting between CIA Director Michael Hayden and senior MIVD officials. Enter Eric van Sabbe, a Dutch engineer living in Dubai. He works there for a transportation company. He's also an asset for the Dutch Secret Service. And now he's given what will be the final mission of his life. von Saba is to install water pumps at the Natanz plant. According to CIA Director Hayden, these pumps contain a technical masterpiece. Later that same year, von Saba makes his way into Natanz and goes to work. How exactly he gains access remains a mystery, but he gets the job done. Von Saba successfully smuggles one of the most powerful cyber weapons ever created into a heavily secured and isolated underground nuclear facility. 2 years later, in 2009, he dies tragically in a motorcycle accident in Dubai. There are no indications of foul play.
Fucking Lundy got him.
Once Stuxnet is inside the systems at Natanz, the malware gets to work. But somehow it's not effective yet. So the CIA doubles down, creating updated versions of Stuxnet in June 2009 and again in 2010. The iterations are faster, more aggressive, and capable of spreading across systems more efficiently,
I like how they started off this
wreaking even
video
greater
like,
havoc.
ooh.
This time, the US shifts tactics to
Oh,
get
the
their weapons
title.
into the plant. They target 5 Iranian companies,
Okay,
specializing in industrial control systems. The updated
Number one
Stuxnet
reactor.
worm uses those computers as a gateway to once again find its way into the Natanz facility.
That's
For
pretty
weeks,
badass.
the
Also
malware does
scary.
nothing but observe, recording every detail of the usual routine. When it's
Spooky,
finally ready
though.
to strike, it starts by sending fake signals to the control room. To the operators, everything looks perfectly normal. But behind the scenes, chaos unfolds. Stuxnet sabotages the centrifuges by taking control of their frequency converters, the systems that regulate motor
Oh, and
speeds.
that's why they were fucking
Stuxnet starts
doing the
altering the
things.
centrifuge's speeds. The frequency converters usually operate within a safe range of 807 to 1207 Hz. But Stuxnet pushes that frequency up to 1410 Hz and then slams it down to a near standstill at just 2 Hz, before stabilizing it briefly at a moderate 1064 Hz. And
So
then the
they're
cycle starts
killing
all
it.
over again. This constant speeding up and slowing down causes extreme wear and tear. In total, Stuxnet is believed to have temporarily disabled at least 1,000 centrifuges at the Natanz plant. Estimates suggest that the malware has set back Iran's nuclear program by as much as 2 years. However, some experts are skeptical of that claim. They believe Iran's nuclear efforts were able to recover rather quickly from the attack. Either way, the goal seemed not to have been to destroy the program in one dramatic strike, but to slow it down and buy time. Stuxnet was
that is
never meant to
wild. What
escape
the
the
fuck?
confines of the Iranian nuclear
It's like
facility,
fifth dimensional
but clearly
chess, bro.
something went wrong. The
CIA?
problem was most likely a bug in the code.
Weirdly
Apparently,
props,
Stuxnet
dude,
infected the
honestly.
computer
This is
of
like
an
some
engineer at
Avengers.
Natanz. When that computer later connected to the internet
Yeah, but I'm
outside the
America,
facility,
dude.
the worm failed to recognize the
Yeah,
change in the
boys.
environment and began spreading worldwide.
Old CIA
This
used to do
global
drugs
outbreak
and
blew
fuck
any chance of
hookers.
keeping the weapon under wraps. Given the scale and sophistication of the malware, it didn't take long for experts to suspect a state actor. Most likely the United States and the CIA in particular. Leaks would soon back up those suspicions. A US general allegedly shared classified details with the New York
It's like
Times.
good guy shit.
To this day, neither the
Right?
US nor Israel have officially admitted to having been involved in the development and use of the Stuxnet worm.
Whoa. That's like some...
Stuxnet marked a historic first, a digital weapon capable of physically destroying an industrial facility.
The way they did
Nothing
it, too.
like that
It's
had
like
ever
speed up
happened
the
before.
rotors, just the wear
And
and
to
tear.
this day, no attack of
What
such
the
scale
heck,
has
man?
been repeated. Probably because operations like this require immense time and resources, with little guarantee of causing
like
lasting damage.
A galaxy brain
In
fucking
2021,
moves.
another suspected cyber attack hit
Minecraft
Iran's nuclear
Manhunt?
facilities, allegedly orchestrated by Israel. But like Stuxnet,
That's why we're so engulfed in the Minecraft manhunt. It's because of skits missions like these. That's why we were like so devastated when Dream.
it failed to permanently derail Iran's nuclear ambitions.
These aren't fake.
According to
These
the
are
US Secretary
super
of State,
skits. If
Iran
not
is now
even
dangerously
scarier.
close to having enough material to build a nuclear weapon. Whether they will actually build one remains uncertain. Iran's newly elected president continues to claim the country has no interest in nuclear arms.
You're goddamn right too. You won't. I'm joking. I don't know how the saying
Just
goes. Spooky, dude. Let me know.